on Saturday the 30th of December, and welcome to our Saturday evening news on the bank holiday weekend around the new year. And in the news this week, Harriet Laurie from Askerswell near Bridport, who set up a horse therapy organisation to help people with their mental health, has been awarded an MBE in the King's New Year's Honours List. It has been announced today. Harriet set up the horse course in 2010, initially working with a group of young offenders on Portland, but since then it has been broadened to those that she works with and has helped thousands of people to improve their mental health and have better life chances. The charity, which has the support of local actor Martin Clunes, is now based in Weymouth and helps more than 600 people with complex challenges and needs each year. The basis of the charity is exploring the benefits that interacting with horses can have, and the range of people have a range of different difficulties. Harriet has now helped train others to run similar schemes across other areas of the UK. In recognition of the significant impact she has had not just on her own community but all around the UK, she has been awarded the MBE in the New Year's Honours List. Harriet said, "My own life experience has taught me that anyone at any time can suffer from a whole range of difficulties, from paralysing fear to mild social confusion, and talk-based therapies, whilst incredibly helpful for many, are not always the answer. For some people talking is difficult, for others it feels useful, but ends up going round in circles. With the horses, I realised that you could set sessions up in such a way that people could learn to target calmness in their own bodies, and with the right training, the horses would give them feedback about when they got it right." Harriet started experimenting with this idea in prisons, but it was obvious that although extremely effective with violent young men, there was potential for young people and families as well. She added, "We have developed a wonderful site with horses, hens and horticulture as the context to help more than 700 Dorset people each year when all else has failed." Now the horse course relies on grants and donations to keep going, as the income from Dorset Council, NHS and schools is only partial. So if you're interested, just search for the horse course. Weymouth's annual Christmas Day Harbour Swim, organised by the Lions charity, saw around 400 people brave a cold water plunge in aid of charity. Spectators filled up both sides of the harbour as usual to watch the event, which is now part of each year's Christmas Day activities. The swimmers started at 11 a.m. and 403 swimmers participated, split into 8 groups in the Cross Harbour swimming races, from the Trinity Road side of the harbour to the Custom House Quay side of the harbour. And well done to everyone who took part in that swim on Christmas Day this year. Fortunately, it was a bit milder for you this year. It's not something that I'd be very keen to do at any time of year, let alone in the middle of winter when it's often freezing. Now, a woman who sustained serious injuries in a road traffic collision in Weymouth has sadly died. The incident, which occurred on Dorchester Road, was reported to police at 5:43 p.m. on Wednesday the 13th of December. It involved a blue Mitsubishi car driven by a man aged in his 60s from Hertfordshire and a female pedestrian. The pedestrian, a local woman aged in her 70s, was taken to hospital for treatment to serious injuries. Very sadly, she died in hospital on the evening of Friday the 22nd of December. Sergeant Leanne Howes of the Serious Collision Investigations team said, "Our thoughts go out to the family of the woman who sadly died at what must be an extremely difficult time for them, particularly at this time of year. We owe it to them to carry out a detailed investigation and establish the full circumstances of this collision, and I'd like to renew our appeal for any witnesses who have not already spoken to police to come forward. I'm also still keen to hear from anyone who may have captured anything of relevant on dash cam footage." Now, if you can help with that incident that happened on the 13th of December at 5:43 on Dorchester Road, contact Dorset Police in the usual way on 101. And if you have any information that you would rather give anonymously, you can do this via the Crime Stoppers charity on 0800 555 111. Now, Weymouth College has been told it can go ahead with plans to build a single-storey extension on its Cranford Avenue site to create additional teaching space. There had been an objection to the plans on the grounds of reduced parking that would be available on the college site and push more vehicles to parking on local roads. The objector stated that Limwell Road in particular has suffered many problems and in some cases has become impassable for refuse and emergency vehicles and treacherous to navigate for residents. Numerous correspondence between residents, Weymouth College, Dorset Council over these issues has been taken place over the years, and unless Weymouth College can guarantee extra on-site parking, this application must be denied. But despite those comments and that objection, Dorset Council Highways Department did not oppose the application, and therefore the extension will be built on the Weymouth College car park site. It will be built in red brick with dark grey window frames to match the existing building. 9 car parking spaces are expected to be lost so that the new building can be built, and the new building will be built at the north end of the existing car park beyond the existing sports centre. The college says that the new workshop style space will play a part in the delivery of construction courses and will be partially paid for by the Local Skills Improvement Fund. Now, round 4 of the Household Support Fund will reopen for applications at 10 a.m. on Wednesday morning, that's the 3rd of January, for low-income households in the Dorset Council area. The government scheme, funded by the Department of Work and Pensions, provides support in the form of supermarket vouchers. Citizens Advice will be allocating this fund on behalf of Dorset Council, and vouchers will be issued to residents who meet the eligibility criteria within 6 to 8 weeks. The government scheme funded by the Department of Work and Pensions. Dorset Council households can apply if they have an annual household net income of less than $30,000 and savings of less than $16,000 and have not applied for a previous household support fund payment within the last 6 months. Calculations for the annual net income should not include things such as personal independence payment or PIP, DLA or disability living allowance, attendance allowance, carers allowance or child benefit, and applications are limited to 1 per household. Councillor Laura Beddoe from Dorset Council, who's the portfolio holder for Culture, Communities and Customer Service, said, "Christmas can be an expensive time for all of us, and it's important to try and start the new year off well. If you are currently struggling with the cost of living challenge, this initiative may help you as it offers supermarket vouchers to help with essentials. If you're applying in this window, please make sure you have not applied for a previous household support fund payment since July, as further vouchers cannot be issued and there was a very limited number of applications available for the current window. But don't worry, if you miss out, another window will open for further applications on Tuesday the 6th of February. Tuesday the 6th of February for the next round after this one. Residents should apply online. The application form will be open at 10 a.m. on the 3rd. More details, including future application window details, can be found by searching for Household Support Fund Dorset Council. Now, if you need any help completing the form, you can telephone the customer service team on 01305 221 000 or visit a customer access point such as the one at Weymouth Library. Further information on all the support available, whether it's to access food, money and debt advice or support with household bills or cost of living issues, you can search for Dorset Council Cost of Living and you'll go to the web pages that has all the relevant information on support available for you. Now, Coast Guards and other emergency services rushed to Weymouth Bay after a red distress flare was spotted in the sky above the bay, indicating a vessel may be in trouble. 2 lifeboats from Weymouth Lifeboat Station, as well as White Creedies and Portland Coast Guard rescue teams, rushed to respond to the flare, which was sighted over Weymouth at 5:55 p.m. on Tuesday this week, as December the 26th. Searches were undertaken at sea and along the coast before another flare was spotted some 2 hours later, coming from somewhere inland. Coast Guard teams later confirmed that this was a false alert as a result of an illegal inland discharge of a distress flare. A spokesman for the Weymouth lifeboat said, following a request from the Coast Guard at approximately 5:55 p.m, both our lifeboats were launched in response to reported sightings of red distress flares over Weymouth Bay. Red distress flares are a signal that a vessel or persons are in urgent need of assistance and are always treated as such by the Coast Guard and lifeboat crews. With that in mind, our volunteer crews took to the water with both lifeboats, initiating well-practiced search patterns, ensuring they covered the full extent of Weymouth Bay. After almost 2 hours of intense search for a potential distressed person, a further flare was spotted, which appeared to have been launched from inland. This was confirmed by the Coast Guard teams on shore. As a result, it was determined that this was a well-intentioned but false alert resulting from an illegal discharge. A spokesman from the White Coast Guard rescue team said a flare was witnessed by all assets involved in the search and confirmed to be over the land and therefore an illegal discharge. We would remind people that firing red distress flares when no genuine emergency exists is illegal under the Merchant Shipping Act. Flares are explosive devices. Anyone possessing a flare is responsible for it until it has been used or properly and appropriately disposed of. Now, planners have agreed to changes at Portland House on Bellevue Road in Weymouth, which is a local Grade 2 listed building overlooking Portland Harbour. The changes installing lighting on external steps to illuminate. The changes are to install lighting to external steps to illuminate emergency escape routes and replace an existing kitchen door with a fire-resistant door. The 1930s-style property is owned by the National Trust. It's open to the public a few days a year, but the rest of the time it is used as a holiday let by the National Trust. The National Trust was gifted the home, which is described as Spanish Hollywood Art Deco style property in 1970s by the Bushby family. The National Trust say the changes had to be made to comply with fire safety regulations if it was to continue letting the property, with the changes said to be achieved without detracting from the original design of the building. Now, Emmanuel Church in Weymouth has suffered damage as a result of somebody trying to gain access to the building this week during an attempted break-in. Emmanuel Church in South Hill is believed was broken into between 3 p.m. on Wednesday, December the 27th and 8:25 a.m. on Thursday, December the 28th. Damage has been done to a couple of doors and one of the glass panels on an outside door has been boarded up. Nothing significant is believed to have been stolen from the premises. Police are currently investigating the incident and no arrests have yet been made. Of course, like all the other incidents of that type, if you've got any information, then please do contact Dorset Police. New rules for dogs in open spaces come into force on the 1st of January. A dog-related public spaces protection order, or PSPO, across the Dorset Council area comes into force on the 1st of January and will remain in place for 3 years. The order replaces the previous dog-related PSPO. The reason for implementing a dog-related PSPO on specific beaches and open spaces is to keep them free from dog fouling and safe for use by all. Insisting that dogs are on leads in particular areas means the owner has adequate control over the dog, which means that they can see if their dog fouls and doesn't cause issues with other people's or dogs. The order follows an extensive consultation that gathered views from residents, visitors, businesses and other organisations. The survey ran for 10 weeks and there were 4,221 responses. 80% of responses were from local residents, with 16.5% from visitors and 2.8% from other people. 62% of responses came from dog owners and 9.5% of the respondents considered themselves having a disability. Now, if you want to read more about that public spaces protection order, then if you go to Google and search for Dorset Council Public Spaces Protection Order, then all of the detail will come up for you. Now, planned bad weather has meant plans for New Year's Eve party on the quay in Weymouth have had to be changed. The popular Quayside Festival event was due to take place at the Rendezvous Club on Weymouth on Sunday, December the 31st, and would normally feature local bands performing on an outside stage on the quay. However, due to expected bad weather predicted for New Year's Eve, organisers have made the decision to move the event indoors. This will result in a reduced capacity for the whole event. The bands will now perform on a stage on the middle floor of the Rendezvous, and it has 3 floors, and they have all been cleared out to make more space for those attending the event. Jason Wagger, who's the club's manager, said the decision has been made purely over weather concerns. We've seen that there is a 75% chance of strong winds. We want the event to be successful as possible, and we want everyone to enjoy the event, and our priority is to keep public safe from danger with the high winds and rain predicted. He went on to say, we're expecting big numbers. We have 3 floors with something different and 2 bars on each floor. Sorry, something different on each floor and 2 bars. The middle floor will host all the bands and the entertainment will be spread across all the floors. Capacity may be reduced, but we are encouraging everyone to come down to Weymouth's biggest party with the best local acts. It's going to be a good time and we hope everyone enjoys themselves, he added. Now, that's the end of the headlines in tonight's programme. It's a shorter programme tonight because actually being between Christmas and New Year, there's not actually a lot of news going on. So we've covered the best of what's happened over the last week. But we will just move on to say we often cover stories in our weekly news from Dorset Wildlife Trust, who are part of the national network of wildlife trusts. And that is an umbrella organisation called the Wildlife Trust. The national organisation has just released a video showing the impact of their activities across the country during 2023, and we want to share that with you now as a good roundup of the work of the Wildlife Trust in 2023.
Now more than ever, nature needs a strong voice to fight its corner. And the Wildlife Trusts are taking a stand. Our staff are working together across the movement, holding decision makers to account. Our volunteers are on the front line, preserving and protecting our reserves. Our ambassadors are lending their voices and influence to promote our work. And our supporters are getting louder, backing our demand for change. Over the last year, landscape scale recovery projects have stepped up. With £38 million of support from Aviva, work is already underway to bring back temperate rainforests in Devon, North Wales and the Isle of Man. In the Peak District, a pioneering landscape recovery project will see 132 hectares of land secured for the future. And in Norfolk, 90 acres of rough meadow and young woodland are being restored at Sweetbriar Marshes. In Wales, we saw the launch of a fundraiser to conserve Pengelly Celtic rainforest. This vital project aims to expand, connect and restore woodland and meadows that once thrived. And in September, we launched the groundbreaking Wilder Marches project. 4 wildlife trusts are working across the English-Welsh border to restore 100,000 hectares of unique landscape. We are bringing back species too. White-clawed crayfish are thriving in Hampshire's chalk streams. Beavers are returning to parts of London, and in Kent, we celebrated the unexpected birth of a baby bison. In Northern Ireland, pine martens are thriving once again, and native oysters are flourishing along the Glenarm coast. We are also bringing people closer to nature. Next Door Nature projects are led by the community to bring nature and wildlife back to areas where people live and work. Funding from the National Lottery Heritage Fund has enabled a community organiser in every trust in the UK. And in Scotland, the Pioneers programme is improving the health and well-being of those involved and building a greater sense of community pride. In Alderney, 3 days of events took place to promote sustainability and celebrate wildlife, whilst their vital seagrass became part of a global campaign to protect seabeds. In June, we launched Coronation Gardens for Food and Nature, which is encouraging millions of people to grow their own food in wildlife-friendly spaces. And in Leicester, a 10-week forest school gave primary school pupils a space to build confidence and connect with nature. From protecting valuable coastal areas to re-establishing temperate rainforests, we are striving forwards in our ambitions to recover nature in the British Isles. All of this and much more has been achieved thanks to our wonderful supporters, funders and members. Thank you for helping us to make a difference.
There we go, and that's the work of the Wildlife Trust across the UK. And of course, our local Wildlife Trust is the Dorset Wildlife Trust. And if you want to look and see what they've been doing and to support their work, you can pop along to their website at www.dorsetwildlifetrust.org. www.dorsetwildlifetrust.org.uk. That's www.dorsetwildlifetrust.org.uk. Now, in our shorter programme tonight, it's time to go along to visit Andrew Wright for this week's film review and preview.
Welcome to Outrageous TV Film Review and Preview. I'm Andrew Wright. On Boxing Day, the biographical sports drama Ferrari was released in cinemas. The film is based on a 1991 biography and revolves around car pioneer Enzo Ferrari as his personal and financial struggles cause him to enter his racing team, Scuderia Ferrari, in an important race in 1957. The film stars Adam Driver as Ferrari alongside Penelope Cruz as his wife Laura. The film has been generally well received by critics, amassing a 75% positive score, with critics praising the acting and the film's complexity. The film has been named one of the 10 best of the year by the National Board of Review and Awards Precursor based in New York. The film is currently in cinemas courtesy of Sky Cinema. I'm not entirely sure if it is streaming on Sky Cinema. I don't think it is, but so you might have to check. Also released on Boxing Day was the sports comedy drama Next Goal Wins by Taika Waititi. The film is based on a true story and stars Michael Fassbender as a failing Dutch-American football coach who faces the impossible task of coaching the American Samoan football team, considered one of the worst in the world. The film features a primarily Australian and New Zealand supporting cast, but there are American actors in there such as Will Arnett and Elizabeth Moss. The film has received mixed reviews from critics who praise the film's heart but criticise the end result. The film's currently in cinemas. Last week, the new Zack Snyder sci-fi epic Rebel Moon was released on Netflix. The film stars Sofia Boutella and is a completely original sci-fi story which revolves around an outback village coming under attack from an oppressive government force. Now, I had low expectations for the film because the critical reviews were so bad, but the film fell short of even those. The film's visually stunning, but it's just long and boring with simultaneously no exposition and bad exposition, and it's just the film's just boring. So I gave the film 1.5 stars out of 5. A sequel is set for release in April, so stay tuned. Boxing Day marked the 50th anniversary of when The Exorcist was first released in cinemas, so it was released on Boxing Day 1973 as a limited release in the US, which officially made Boxing Day the 50th anniversary. The horror film, widely regarded as one of the best of all time, stars Ellen Burstyn and Linda Blair and is directed by the late William Friedkin. The film revolves around a single mother reaching out to the church for help when her 12-year-old daughter gets possessed. So I watched it for the first time for the 50th anniversary. I was planning on watching it anyway, but then when I saw it was the 50th anniversary, I was just all like, oh, that extra incentive to watch it. But I was absolutely disappointed. I felt that the film was unnecessarily sort of graphic, and it was just sort of long and dull. And I just couldn't get into it. Which is odd considering it's considered one of the greatest films of all time. I gave the film 2 stars out of 5. I will be reviewing the 2023 sequel Believer. It's from the same team that made the Halloween sequel trilogy, so Halloween, Halloween Kills, and Halloween Ends. I absolutely love those first 2 Halloween films of that trilogy, so I'm hoping for some redemption with Believer. So that's in 2 weeks, so stay tuned. That's all I have for this year, but be sure to tune back in next year, where I'll be bringing you more of the latest film news and previews. I believe I might start off the year by covering what's to come in 2024. Now back to you in the studio.
Thanks very much, Sir Andrew. And yeah, it's very easy to get confused between 2023 and 2024 at the end of the year, particularly when you're writing dates down. So just be aware of that next week. When you're writing dates down, we will be in 2024. Now it's time in the programme this week for the national weather forecast from the Met Office. And this week we are joined by Craig Snell.
Hello there, welcome to your latest weather update from the Met Office. Well, as we see out 2023, the weather is set to remain unsettled, and that's all courtesy of this area of low pressure, which will only slowly work its way across the country during this weekend. Note the tightly packed isobars indicating it's going to be quite windy too. We may well just see a brief respite on New Year's Day before further areas of low pressure come in as we head towards Tuesday next week. Back to the here and now, we've got this area of heavy rain which will spread across many parts of Western England, Wales, Northern England and Scotland. As it bumps into the colder air across Scotland, it will turn to snow, mainly across the high ground, but at times at lower levels too. Further south, it will stay as rain, but some heavy rain around, so watch out for that. And further south, we will see some strong winds, especially across parts of Wales and southern England. Could see some gusts reaching 65 to 75 miles an hour in some exposed parts. Best of the weather this afternoon across Northern Ireland. Here we will see some sunshine, but some showers will spread in later on. Temperatures with the southerly flow fairly mild for most of us, but as I mentioned, there is some colder air across parts of Scotland. So feeling cold here, but mild elsewhere. Into this evening, this whole area of rain will track its way eastward. So for many parts, we will see a brief spell of heavy and some squally rain. The rain will then become quite slow moving across Shetland and Orkney later on in the night. So quite a wet and windy end to the night here. Elsewhere, a mixture of clear spells and a scattering of showers. In the clearer slots, especially across the spine of the country, it will turn fairly chilly. But I think for most of us away from Scotland, it should be a fairly frost-free night. So New Year's Eve itself, it's going to be a mixture of sunny spells and scattered showers once any early rain across eastern England clears away. But unfortunately for Shetland and Orkney, that rain will persist right throughout the day. I think the best of the weather as we see out the year will be across parts of northern Scotland, where we will see some sunshine and largely dry conditions. Come the afternoon, the showers could turn quite heavy, could see some thunder and lightning in places too. And with a slightly more northwesterly flow to the wind, it will feel a little bit cooler, but still temperatures not doing too badly for the time of year, still reaching double figures in parts of the south. And then heading towards the all-important midnight hour, for many parts we continue the showery theme, especially across England and Wales. Winds start to turn a bit lighter across the mainland parts of Scotland, with potentially some drier conditions developing here, so good opportunity to get out here. Further south, you certainly will need a rain jacket and watch out for some fairly blustery winds still across the south. But that's all for me for now. If you want more information about the weather where you are, you can always check out our website or our app, and don't forget to follow us on YouTube. Take care, and I'll see you again soon.
Thank you very much, Craig, and we'll be back with the Met Office next week. Looking at the local weather, oh look, lots of rain coming up and 3 spots of rain. Still very mild though, we're not getting those cold winter temperatures. It is still very much wet, windy and changeable. So make sure you've got your coat if you're going out this week, particularly if you're going back on Monday, New Year's Day, for a walk. Right, moving to our What's On. What's on this weekend? First of all, Weymouth Pavilion, not this weekend, actually this coming weeks actually. Weymouth Pavilion, until tomorrow we've got the Christmas pantomime, Snow White, so maybe still a few tickets left tomorrow if you've not seen that. 5th of January, the Bournemouth Symphony Orchestra's New Year Viennese Gala. 12th of January, the big country show, if you like country and western. 19th of January, Queen Rhapsody. 20th of January, the Rolling Stone Story. 21st of January, Spirit of the Dance. And 26th of January, Thank You for the Music, an ABBA tribute. Lots more shows coming up in January and throughout the year. You can get more details on the Weymouth Pavilion website at weymouthpavilion.com, or by ringing the box office on 01305 783 225. Now, the Knowth Fort is shut until March, so there's nothing to report on the Knowth Fort this week. Arts Reach have now issued their new programme. You can get details of that full programme on their website, www.artsreach.co.uk, where you can put in your address details and get the full programme posted to you. But just to give you an idea of a few things that are happening this end of the county, 12th of January, Old Baby Mackerel at Portion Village Hall, that's bluegrass music. Friday the 19th of January, Fragments, a Project Dance Company, that's a dance show, Buckland Newton Village Hall. Sunday the 21st of January, Wild Visions Untamed Myth at Cerne Abbas Village Hall, that's storytelling. And 26th of January, an evening of very old radio at West Stafford Village Hall. Now this one seems very interesting. It's called an evening of very old radio. Now it's researched, written and performed by a guy called Paul Kerensa, who's a British Comedy Award-winning writer. He's written for Miranda and Not Going Out, which will be two very familiar TV comedy programmes that you may have heard of. And he's a comedian and broadcast historian, so you can expect tales, clips and reenactments of Auntie Beeb's earliest landmark moments, including the first BBC broadcast, the first children's drama, sports commentary and much, much more. So that's something a little bit different. Friday the 26th of January at West Stafford Village Hall. It's called An Evening of Very Old Radio. Now I think Paul is doing that elsewhere across Dorset as well, and you can find out more details about that and the other shows on www.artsreach.co.uk. Now, church services in Wyke tomorrow, or Wyke Regis area. Communion at All Saints Church at 8 o'clock and 9:30. It's a said service at 8 a.m. and a sung service at 9:30. And then there's a service at St Edmund's Church Lane House at 11 o'clock tomorrow. Now we're almost at the end of this week's programme. Just to say that our other programme tonight is our weekly Saturday evening quiz. That starts at 7:30 prompt. The stream will be up about 7:20, so you can connect. It is free. Everyone is welcome. It's very community and family friendly, so suitable for all. And I'd be very pleased if anybody wants to join me there at 7:30 on this channel and all our usual channels. Other than that, that brings us to the end of the programme this week. Just to remind you, if you've got any stories or news for us or any events coming up, drop us an email at news@wykeregis.tv, news@wykeregis.tv, and we would love to share that with people next week and in future weeks. And other than to say, I hope you have a very happy, healthy and prosperous new year when it comes tomorrow night, and wish you all the best for 2024. I look forward to being back with you next Saturday at 6 o'clock. Good night.